Bonjour, Bruno here. It's the Darko and Bruno podcast, the last of the year. So happy holidays, Merry Christmas to everybody. And today, Darko and I are going to talk about our favorite topic, frequentist versus Bayesian, the AI edition. And we're going to talk about two topics in particular in our AI and biostatistics um, podcast. Number one, trying to have me understand finally, maybe once for all, the difference between frequentism and Bayesianism. Right? Number one. Number two, trying to figure out at the core whether AI, LLM, ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok, Claude, are they frequentist or are they Bayesian? Maybe it's a little bit like gendering. Is it are the models feminine or masculine? So maybe we'll conclude that there's no conclusion, or maybe it depends the way we ask the question. So that's a topic for today. Darko, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Bruno. Bonjour. I also want to congratulate everyone who is celebrating these days and in the future. Happy holidays. And yes, a very interesting topic, frequentist versus Bayesian. I mean, sometimes I feel like it's a question that's actually, it never has a final answer, right? So there's always like, a continuation of that story. So we had one previous episode on this, but now we will be going deeper and even including AI and discussing whether AI is frequentist or Bayesian. So I'll ask Shahir, our special executive producer, to add maybe some context that we prepared just for the audience.
To explain the difference
Yes. Now,
to me. I'll be the naive audience here for the purpose of this call. And by the way, was 2025 for you a frequentist year or Bayesian year?
Well, for me, it was frequentist. However, I'm sure that, there are a lot of Bayesians out there. So let's send them some hugs.
Well, that's right. It's Christmas, so Bayesian and frequentist should hug. So if you're a frequentist, go around and hug a Bayesian. And if you're Bayesian, you don't get a lot of hugs usually. So take it gracefully and find yourself a frequentist and give him or her a hug as well.
Okay, so we can start with the very basic history, where these two frameworks they're actually go hundreds of years back in history, and they developed as two core philosophies in statistics. So these two philosophies, they disagree very often, and what you're seeing right now is just one example, one of the core examples actually, where frequentists and Bayesians have a different angle of thinking about statistics. So in frequentist thinking, what we are actually doing is that we're trying to think about the long run frequency. As you can see here, there is a machine, a coin tossing machine actually. So if we were to discover if it was a fair coin, for example, we would be doing a lot of experiments. So that's really the only way to discover if the coin is fair. You just do a lot of experiments. In this case, it's million experiments, and then eventually this long run frequency will tell us what the final result is. Is the coin fair? And that's what we call a parameter, right? Now, the Bayesians, they have a slightly different angle of thinking. They're saying they're not that interested in this long run frequency.
If I could interrupt. Well, first, frequentism, I understand. Okay. I think everybody understands frequentism, right? You flip the coin 1 million times, and then you say, well, 50.1% of the time it's tail. That's clear. There's no mystery to that. Bayesian is more mysterious to me, but frequentism is clear to me. It's very intuitive and it's very clear. So before you describe what Bayesian is, what's the problem with frequentism? Because sometimes you hear Bayesian say, oh, p-value, this and that. We don't know if it's a ghost curve. I don't know. I don't quite understand it. But what's wrong with frequentism? Why are people trying to find something else than frequentism?
Well, at its core, there's nothing wrong. However, there is what Bayesians consider to be unintuitive in frequentism is the following statement. So if we go for this coin tossing experiment, we focus on the long run frequency and we say, well, there is one true result. So it's either a fair coin or not a fair coin. There is one fixed parameter which we don't know. So we're trying to find out, but we don't know. And we say this parameter is fixed. Now, how frequentism works is when we relate it to the data, is, for example, a data from a clinical trial, or in this case, the data about the coin, it doesn't matter. It ends up being the following statement. How we form hypotheses and we test them is that we consider that there is that unknown truth, and that truth, that parameter, is actually going to be related to some data generation process. So the data may vary. To cut the long story short, what we are actually doing, we are saying the following. What is the result? For example, what is the coin fair or not? We are not answering that question directly. We are actually answering the following question. Is this data that we got aligned with the fact that the coin is fair or not? In the context of a clinical trial, maybe that would be even a better example. It would be like, is the data that is generated, is the data that we collected in a clinical trial, is that data aligned with the fact that treatment is working or not working? So the treatment is either working or not. What data do we expect to get later? So that's how frequentists frame the whole hypothesis testing. Now the Bayesians say, well, that's unintuitive.
Yeah.
Now, before I continue, I'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, and by the way, this is so important to me that even if we don't cover all the aspects, I will still get value from it. Hopefully, our audience too. Some of the people in the audience know that, so maybe that's okay for them. But for people who are still trying to figure out this Bayesian versus frequentist, maybe that will be useful. In a clinical trial, you can think about head and tail as perhaps you could say you could say that patient survives or does not survive, right? Two outcome, and so the frequentist question is answered that way. We could say, well, 50% of the patient survive, right? That would be a fair way to describe a trial. Can you put back actually the graph on that? That's going to help me focus. Right. So forget my point. Let's go back to Bayesian. I lost my precise question.
I think it's a fair point. So the only
I think you might be on mute, Darko. I cannot hear you. Maybe it's
Can you
me.
hear me now?
Perhaps it's on my end.
Yeah. Can you hear me now? Okay, let me try to fix something. Okay. So is it better now? Do you have any audio?
I cannot hear you. Shay here. Shay, can you come in and help us sort out whether or not we are on? And Darko, if you can hear me, can you nod your head? Okay.
Yes.
So you can hear me. I cannot hear you. We don't know if our audience can hear us. There is a 50% chance from frequentist standpoint that they can hear you.
Yes, 50% chance. Can you hear me now, maybe?
And Shahir might or might not hear us. So my Bayesian hypothesis is that the audience cannot hear us. How do I adjust that prior with data to create a posterior? That's what we're essentially trying to do, right? Now, I'm going to repeat what I understand Bayesian is until I can hear you, since I'm not sure if the audience can hear us. So in the Bayesian world, we start with a hypothesis, and we that's called a prior. And then we adjust that prior with data to get to a posterior. That's essentially my understanding. Now, how we do that, I don't understand, right? And we don't need to get into detailed that. But that's the way I understand Bayesian. Okay. But we don't know if the audience can hear us or not. So if you're in the audience, help us in the comments. Tell us if you can hear Bruno or Darko, neither or both.
Yeah, tell us who is audible to you. Who are you listening to? I think if you're Bayesian, you're probably not listening to me anyway. Okay.
Maybe we need to abort the call and continue next time, considering the technical difficulty. Let's do that, Darko, because I don't want to have the audience not hear one or two of us and has a degraded experience. So we I guess had the setup, the baseline for future additional call on frequentist versus Bayesian. And it's such an important and interesting topic that I don't mind having another podcast on that topic. So thank you very much. I want to wish everybody a terrific New Year, and also to spend quality time with their friends and family during the holidays. Some of you, I'm sure, are facing also some tough time at various levels of their life, and our thoughts are with them during the holiday season. Au revoir.